Fixing a running toilet can save you a ton of money, and every homeowner should be able to do this. To understand why they're running, you have to look at these gaskets. They're sitting under water all the time. Why wouldn't they fail? Today, I'll be installing one of the leading brands, Corky's water-saving fill valve. It replaces all different types of fill valves, and it has a really unique feature that we'll talk about later, where it can help stop a running toilet in its tracks. After confirming you have a positive shutoff on the water valve, flush out the tank just as you normally would going to flush the toilet, and then you can use a vacuum or a sponge to get the remaining water out. The more you can get out, the less it's going to be on the floor to clean up later. Included in this kit are the instructions and all the parts you're going to need in order to complete this installation, and there's even a little locking clip for property managers who don't want their tenants adjusting the fill valves. Before you install it, understand how to set the water level on these things. There's an adjustable shaft that you twist this left or right in order to set the water height. It's very difficult to do once it's installed. We are going to be reusing the toilet supply line here. This is a steel braided hose. These last about 10 years. If yours is older than 10 years or you're unsure or it's something other than steel braided, you should just go ahead and replace it with this install. I'll leave a link to all of these parts on my Amazon store to make it nice and easy for you. Once removed, you can then clean up the seat where the new gasket is going to sit. You don't want any debris under there. Disconnect the hose going into the overflow tube, and then you can take your old one, throw it in the trash, or set it in a bucket off to the side. This fill valve has an indicator where the water level is going to be once it's installed. You want to really get this right. Don't have it too high or too low. If you have too much water, it'll overflow. Too little water, it won't flush correctly. It needs to be about an inch below the overflow tube. You don't want the tank lid or the trip lever to hit it. Let's attach this red chain first before we throw this thing down here and screw everything back together. Again, you want to go hand tight on all this. If you have to use a wrench or any plumber's putty or Teflon, you've got something wrong. Everything's plastic here. It's really easy to cross thread if you're not careful. The second end of the supplied red chain is going to go to the trip lever. When securing this chain, it needs to be taut in the flush position so that it can put pressure downwards on it to allow the fill valve to engage. The last step is attaching the hose that goes to the overflow tube. This carries water that helps clean the bowl. These can be cut to length, and you want to make sure that they're very secure, because if it falls out, it could cause a leak or cause the toilet not to fill up correctly. We can turn on the water now because everything is installed, and do a couple test flushes. Now, the unique thing about this fill valve is the red cap on the bottom filling with water during normal operation. This little holding tank will prevent the toilet from running if you have a slow leak from your flapper. During normal operation, the trip lever will tilt this cup and allow water to spill out, allowing the fill valve to engage and fill up the toilet again. Most toilets have flappers, but there are some additional flush valves that you can attach this thing to, and the instructions are included. Now here we're going to do a test where I'm going to put my finger under there, simulating a leak in the toilet. You'll notice that the water level is draining in the tank, but the fill valve is not engaging it to come on and fill the tank. This is because the red reservoir that is holding water has not been tipped by the trip lever, preventing the fill valve from constantly running and trying to fill up your toilet. This is what can save you a lot of money using this fill valve. In the future, if you ever go to flush your toilet and there's no water in the back of the tank, that means that you have a small leak. It could be from the flush valve, or more commonly, it's just in need of a flapper replacement. If you want to learn more about repairing your toilet or how to test your toilet for leaks, please consider hitting the follow or subscribe button depending on where you're watching. Leave me a comment down below. I've got over 1,000 different repair videos, a lot of them concerning toilets, but I'll give you a tip. You can use food coloring in order to diagnose it.